Mr. Bajo, Minister, Bajo Pijo Mike, Deputy Minister for
Lands and Natural Resources.
Lands and Natural. Hey. Congratulations, my Ekosiisen team. This is the first time Michelle had him say after being appointed.
Sure.
After that controversial appointment of minorities here in Tiasia. Quite controversial. It's controversial like the ambassador at large, very controversial.
There's nothing controversial. It's downright objectionable. There's nothing controversial about making you executive No, who's here controversial? There's nothing controversial.
Downright condemnation.
Wrong. You are appointed as
minister. Any win your chance. Any win. Remember, my mini minister.
We are so near that you have a man of so fire. No, Monday.
Oh, okay, first day. Okay. But before we are once again a crab. Ministry of Bokode.
Oh, Radiadum. Yeguso.
Who did you?
Yeguso did.
No regulatory front of illegal mining.
Yes. Very important. Very important because.
Number 200 over notes. Ben say I chase modern bono coin come in terms of checking some of these things. They say be a peripheral of a Chimota forest. This and who check is I
mean, I think that you are. These are very important and relevant questions because the environment, one of the key about the environment here, forest. How will we keep our trees? How will we keep our environment? Our reserves money are there because the world is even moving towards greater emphasis on even the forest and its natural resources within the forest. Not only in terms as your minerals deposit, but the forest resources, even in terms of wildlife. Once you are able to build some of these forests to a certain appreciable level, it increases our ability to have better and good biodiversity. Because when you say maybe there was this swamp area be a share. And saying we've tried to organize that area even into some sort of bamboo plantations money. And if you go back there, I'm away from Inku, once you're able to do some of these things, and there may be an anchor area, and they are part of the ecosystem. They are part of the biodiversity here, because otherwise the natural state of our environment, is declining at a certain rate, a higher, and a senior human existence should be. So some of these areas that you talk about, and they're important. How will we maintain the natural? But I mean, in everything be money there will be challenges. It's about how well you're able to contain these challenges, reduce them to the barest minimum. Here. So I would not say that there are no challenges and that everything is on a smooth money there. But it also calls for collaboration between everybody, stakeholders involved. Because there is no government sitting somewhere without the population. Every single decision, act, policy, programs is designed towards our appreciation of it. The end benefit. So if you are not able to keep ourselves in tandem with that, that is where some of these challenges will come. And the frontage of it money are there because society is developing. But one thing, very important, maybe now hydrology for harmony, and some of the things that they talk about they intertwined. One critical thing that as a people we ought to appreciate and understand how our spatial planning has been. Send your city crew, your man send you also see a man near maybe because spatial planning talks about communication with the environment. As development grows and near my will be here an opportunity and an avenue so on so be near my way. Tibebi Okrana is not designed for that. But because people need to exist, make sure that their life thrive money at the end. They find an immediate means. Pay a quantity be a yen temoso sebe boma mometimi. Tenina koko affected and I say Sanju Media EDB and money a day. So there are some challenges money a day. And talk about handover news, yes. Primarily, my substantive minister, and there's a portfolio under the ministry that will be designated to me as a deputy minister. This is a minister and fast age media share unsa primarily untimi nkasa metra kwa kuti. Intimi koto say minister na free hono will leave me a dossier of what I'm going to do. And no yet how I told work. Maybe I is run through the minister because you are there to help aid because and you are duty bound to do what he assigned to you. In current terms, whatever biano media ministry no AD biano important. A found the best means and who jumedi and who you know as a mayor. Then I report back to him. Where need be we engage everybody biano so no. Then I'll continue.
There's been issues about this tree planting exercise and the figures are muko to say. Yeah, no. 10 million, 20 million, 40 million.
More than 50. And I'm going to 10 million.
10 million. 10 million. And I make us say,
and 40 million.
What the two boys, man. Say, because me Matina say, yeah, auditing and Casa. These matters of 20 million, 40 million, 30 million, no, quite questionable. But maybe they can be telling us maybe a reclamation be or baby. This is how much we've done here and all those things. Yes, will be a bit nature near to Boko Park. So he's new to the ministry. But what has been the strategy? I'm with the coaches our figures.
This is the 4th year, and in the first 3 years, and the ministry, started to plant these number of trees. Money I think the first year was about 10 million. The call 20, we went back to 10. And money at it, but in every year we are talking about my money in the and as a ministry name Kwani Muni Panesi Kudiano, the whole country. And let me make some emphasis say faith-based organizations. This year me call Northern Region, me trust Yendi, Menayana Nekudiano. The entirety of the whole paramountcy Ubia baby. Imagine. So that's it. We had a Church of Pentecost. They can give you the number of trees. Or media. In essence, Church of Pentecost Nankasa cry in collaboration with this program here, and in essence over the years in the crown media in essence of 2 million trees. And then we are no my a survival. Your survival rate and then we are because you are nipa in Pukran, you are way basa siswa. Ebinyan kwebiwu. Ebitna se chesni bi. So no. Inti nyani ya debating team form. Yes, aye denia ebibewu. But on the average, so far, we are hovering in the neighborhood of almost about 70 and over percent because the first year and at the beginning or not about 67% rate. Because 78 last year last 1 year was in excess of over about 80% because as you do no you now walk anymore if you be learning curve. And my own send you see the brow day and so into this year said about 10 million because we want sustainability. And this year more geared towards degraded forest reserve and aggressive reforestation, planting of economic trees. Sebeya in Phoebe away anymore ban. Once we've done ornamental trees in urban trees, money shade trees, money and then in Phoebe away anymore ban. Our compartment and now say quiet near one way more ethical form because Ghana is playing a lead role in this whole effort about tropical rainforest afforestation, aggressive afforestation is animal we are seeing and we are also trying to say the degraded forest will be this year and the target will be there starting from last year DNA, but emphasis this year was about 60% on those ones. And yes, the numbers because I kind of young kuma ba kumoni adin we find and say really as a door so until baby the tintin ya money but my Ghana you want an assassin yantama wo krabata wood in cry your money adi krobia mo you just said dear boy a man temo money adina. And here we are talking about economic trees, urban trees, decorative trees, shade trees, avenue trees.
Of trees. Those for
fruit trees.
Those for beautifying our cities.
Trees are Adrian Kano. Fruit trees, pear, money, mango.
Part of it.
Nina are part of the trees that are distributed and planted.
This education.
Nina can those three pair guava and Nina can
survival report.
So they say all of those trees are part of
the
it.
level of survival.
So all of those trees in the count. And Tinya Sebia would do Mudianqua. And you do Mudianquan, you see a dear 40 million and I be the cutting to me. In near you, dear, so Konako, Saroya, palm trees, money, all of those ones. Because at the end of the day, no, say, and to me, I near you crew Nimu, Krasu Green. I remember, I said, oh, TSC Krubina was shown her. Kunas a quiet room up until say you get to a certain low altitude. As I'm supposed to say, you crew. That is how society ought to be. Intino sanity, in near way munina become. So it is not one specific species of tree. And therefore, 48 in Tinebia.
So you are from Parliament. I think you are from Parliament on this matter of the inquiry report, committee. We have 2 reports now. I understand that the chairman said will be laid there next week, and there's another one that was laid by Honorable Kennedy Japan. Is that the case?
Which report was the
IGP report inquiry?
No good. Last week, most part of last week, about 2 or 3 days. But the point is that we've come to realize about some of these committee reports. Once you don't get a consensus on it, ammonia DB and they do 10 I won't be paying a minority report. But a ranking member and as a minority, you obviously will not have that opportunity to lay report. The committee naturally the report of every committee is laid by the chairman. So concentration and focus will be on that. It doesn't mean say BB car also enka. But our emphasis should always be on what the actual report through Parliament's processes and procedure has been laid. The other avenue would be a beer de na yesu ni efuze bia anya kwanya or even yedia ye ka wum ye pesi pia bontini echeche mu ye. We would want the actual report to be laid, what will be accepted by speaker, for us to go into deliberation on that and for speaker's direction on it to come. And yes, your mind, we would end up discussing idea anyhow, and that becomes a problem. It is where nyabutre no one train. Now what actually, because at the end of the day, the alternate say wa bontin bi aso no e will be an insusudie bi. Officer no am memua, but unsusudie no should be laid on the foundation. I will say what fapim bi eto so because nya niema wuti no woni nyina ena ye niema o mo consider. Because there are certain doses of documents that ebia emma wani so ma wonya bi nkan. And if ordinarily go by no nko ana no suntu so ugina so dia fa botaya si ugina ye. Say that is my report and I would want to do. I think that would be inappropriate. To say, let us wait. We need the official report.
But it's a bit worrying when lawyers of parties national say, like as a lawyer, Kwame quickly is responding that they're listening to him this afternoon on Joy. He makes a statement. Say, what is going on? I'm a room for them to suspect that you're attaching something against the client, and the other lawyers are also talking.
I mean, that is unfortunate.
Why even leak this?
So this leak.
I think that is unfortunate. My leak, yeah, okay.
That's what I'm saying. The client,
yes, I know. I agree with him. On my own, I can leak.
IGP.
On the IGP lawyer, on the representation of the neighbor committee.
But my client will buy.
But the most important, I did was say yeah, nebribia because I never can. Obi a person in Nipa odi kan or kan. Obi na nyasa akro be petu na TB by di akwa said the room. And I think it's very wrong. We become so much consumed by say me na me di kan. And most of our phones we are say breaking news near the red at home money because that attracts people's attention money at. But because a final report the Jansi atidi umdada. But be komuno.
They're different.
They're so different. O trust na onya abotreso na wo kan na ado adwene sisi ho na wo hwep se na city atum se nya abotra. Amoni ade. O mind be na so gina ye nyina yeso. Na yetena mic ho na ya so echinchim fidie no.
I respect that.
I think we should also be a bit patient about some of these things.
All right. So that's our Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Kwasi Kunedu. I think Akwaba.
You too, man.
So, even though also issues with the hydrology conversation, and talk across. We are then we can. No, my boko.
Oh, things could always be better.
When I see you, and I'm torn between advocacy and then a pressure group.
Yeah, you. But
yeah.
I have said this thing. Say, look, one of the areas we work on environmental sustainability. About issues of green Ghana, I'm a bit passionate about it, And it's look, we need to query the methodology forestry for Eddie Juma to confirm the survival rate. Now, meanwhile, the 2023 report, survival report, how you'd find the objectives of this Green Ghana Day, programming, and our Greening Ghana programming. One of it is and let me just quickly read some of them now, just to situate the conversation in a proper context.
And I think as well can
let me just read from objectives 1 to 3. It talks about facts that you green and beautify public spaces within communities and households. TNU, green and beautify public spaces within communities and households. The second is restore deforested and degraded landscapes. And then I'm just going to read about 3. I just encouraging people to do whatever. Then support national efforts targeted at mitigating climate change. And then create enhanced awareness on the necessity for collective action. From 4 to the 6th objective, they are more like you can say shang crofo crying chro near and so on. But the key objectives in my view are 1 to 3. Needy kind do you see any beautiful public spaces around? Which Sutherland, let me just take it for Sutherland. It's a park, me boy. We are greening Ghana and a year na IFA. Which other parks do we have in Accra?
Parks, no.
That's another question. What is here? You are even struggling. You are racking your brain to even find out where the parks are.
Parks, no. Parks.
What you must here? And if you are doing greening Ghana, now you see we have to beautify public spaces and communities. Oh, then they never heard that. What you say? That is 1. And then 2, TNU, to restore deforested and degraded landscapes. What is the forest cover? What is Ghana's forest cover? Minister, well, this is not to put you on the spot, but if you can give us, do you have an idea?
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Okay. Because over the period, there has been a great deal of depletion of young forest cover. No? And if we are talking about reforesting deforested and degraded places, young forest, baby, I can say, TRTC, and young cancer. That is where the focus should be. Now, like I said, we need to do an audit of the audited claims forestry for Ediabetu. Because
the audit.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Because almost they go to unreserved and out
so
of reserve sites.
Let me have this breakdown. We have 266 forest reserves. 266 forest reserves.
Does it include those ones
Also, that's the mistake we make. That Minerals Commission, Papa never education Thursday. Or see, AM from so. And you propose forest reserves 22. Propose forest reserves 22. But what was the and you wildlife protected areas 21. Wildlife protected areas 21. And national parks 7. National parks.
No, those are the games and Kakum Park.
But say okay, for example, because forest evasion.
No, part like enforced land.
No, enforced land is what we. Okay, enforced land back. And I can say your forest,
No, so no, I said are there other similar ones?
Okay, yeah, and about the depletion of your forest.
Exactly. Okay. So I'm giving you a figure of according to them. Those that are strict, they are already and those that are permissible, so it's my legitimate mining in some of these forests.
But this is legitimate mining.
Oh, but those,
no, what I mean are there reserves any legitimate being
some of the
even areas marked as biodiversity sites. Then you know the mining.
Or say sa de ni bia one call forestry for ankoji education. You classify every forest as a restricted area.
So I just saying some of the forest reserves are now open for mining.
It has been. Or society is a Miami Krum. Miami Kurum, I can't say, Newmont. Yeah. On site, I say, and no South Forest area, no, would be classified as a restricted. That's what me breaking that.
No,
but get this one, so I have an idea. So you do because or see, your reserves, forest reserves, you know, 266. Anna, yeah,
out of 266, no, and 266.
266.
Which ones are eligible for mining invasion?
So that one.
That one when Bizano.
That one.
I said Bizano because when him say, Abujina, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, there was a cabinet decision to place a freeze on mining in forest reserves. And Yemfa and Ukrantunja, apart from Enono, there are some areas they refer to them as red zones. One, and I'm sure that is what
one strict nature reserve and 6 resource reserves.
Okay,
and the only ones is the national parks.
Nyami can say there was a policy by this government to freeze mining. You can say in forest areas. And to more whether prospectus, you can say prospecting licenses, any mining leases in some areas, you were prohibited from doing your activities in these areas. What is here? Secondly, there are some areas, the red zones, and know whether there is a freeze on mining in forest reserves or not. Says here, in fact, there are even areas. Those areas are reserved for biodiversity reasons and so on and so forth. Says here, Nina leases mangrove mining, and apart from legal leases, a month for cry TSM in the name of Galamsey.
He admits of illegal miners, but say a restricted forest reserve, you'll say it's difficult to enter because the Forestry Commission. Hold on. Me per se ye tia DBA science. Say the bear on the same one. The all patch thing in say.
Like
the CEO of Minerals Commission.
No, it would have been nice if you were here. One, it helps the conversation.
So you go ahead.
Have they lifted the freeze on mining in forest reserves? That's one. Two, sir, red zones, Yama leases to mine in them or not? What is here? And this thing, you see, who are we fooling? Say you go and destroy your forest reserves in the name of mining, and come back and say, "Young go greening Ghana, so young go planty in this you can say on reserve size and out of reserve size in San Juan." Who are we fooling? Ma says here, and this is the point. If you look at the third objective talks about support national efforts targeted at mitigating climate change. Ghana Hanyina, Mr. Ghana, Accra Hanyina, the only forest reserve that is left is Achimota Forest. And through an executive instrument, our minister sign here, you've decided to sell in the name of, say, there are peripheral areas within the reserve of Mubeton and Amudima development. Look, what is climate change? It is when you destroy all of these
buffers.
What must here? Now, what could in the name of Zew and the what is peripheral about, sir? Tell me. Sir, reserve no ye did Muaman Yaka Kitway, yes, Sabi did in the name of Ze. Oh, there are some peripheral areas. And one any Hifa. And one and
Semper FM.
What is here? And Mammy yes.
Okay, I think you better proceed.
Maybe just a question before I proceed. What have you gazetted, sir? You can say portions now mu designate as peripheral. No more gazetting.
Oh my, I think that if you would want to situate Achimota matters, I was would say I say. Also, Achimota forest concept at the Kodia Ma that gazette by the last year in by and also TSA. It has nothing to do with this current administration. Oh my, you and I know this old family matters has happened from 1927. I'm starting just as no at the Achimota school. The GB count those days. The other one here for forest reserves, so many be in ya. On energy firewood keke. Some bit media firewood near the feed school no through its transition process. The bedroom part of game pamonia being a part of Achimota forest.
That's true.
If now say Gimpa Baba Gimpa, now you decouple Gimpa the free the current Achimota Forest compartment Kakakane free 1927 by now. Now there's an EI to that effect. Do you say Zubia Babaton their movie? It do tembia it do tembi near discussing matters. We must be so dispassionate about it. So they say we must be so dispassionate and read the history of some of these matters. Because these are matters that you can't you're so passionate to people. If you don't go find out DMT test harmony idea. Wesley Gons money a honeymoon where Wesley Gons last 4 years nearby. Last 4 years never. You don't know. Wait. Only matter say
then what you with.
So I say we name the Hong Kong on the Anibia Naka say winning. Those areas, yes, see what dying money idea what can be they were all part of the original acquisition in 1920 something. No, Water Forest. The acquisition was in two phases: the one original for the school and the other one for firewood.
Into wetlands and forest reserve for firewood.
So you go and find all those. Remember here only a day. Other make a game per was game per part.
It was part. It's part of
it. It is a game per cat water forest acquisition from those days. And when they buy a game panel, that's a whole free map.
My country said they have encroachments.
The encroachment didn't happen because of the EI that was signed. That was done last 4 years. And now last 2 years.
No.
I don't know where it has been taken out by the EI. All of these areas that have already gone now, a one crack term we say they are part of the Achimota Forest. No? All of these individuals, if that places are not decoupled and free one, none of them can have title to their properties or motim. So if all of those areas have already been gone, then we need to decouple it so that people can have proper titles to your mind. Now, all the costs because of I think that is a problem.
The current one, a Bianca. It's just those ones that have already been encroached upon.
Current one, baby. You should no. You see, when you ask you don't necessarily have to ask questions. I think you put it to papers, you put it to facts. Money idea. Okay, so who say no? I'm just so who becomes the unless you are there to say. I had your drawings in ye. I had nan card already akone ho. Any day babeka ho. And no sadia name you are speaking to Adiane Dahono. We said, yes, I had you forest wing idea for encroachment. Yeah. And let me ask, Oman, when we talk about these illegal in forest reserves money idea, who then do you tend to blame money idea? Yes, Sadia Kasenko full mines illegally to mine money idea. The end result of what you would say, and say, one, abai ohuntie will say abai hwe anameboa. No problem with that. But I think as a people also, can't we say if all of these areas have been earmarked for it, ammonia dear say young fan tour because of biodiversity, because of say I was here boa to make sure our forest reserves money dear no ebeka ho aboa ne enipa yene anu we enter illegally. Not going through the right process. Why don't we first start from the end now, Babisi, and tell people what the reason why they ought not to be there, but rather say necessarily, ultimately, blame others for Enema ACC. I don't say there ought to be a certain level of policy programs to deter people money are there, but the vast year can once the whole bit of this country money are there. Areas have been designated for that. All of these places have either been gazetted and also been under protective ammonia, and people illegally enters ammonia. We have no qualms about those people. How do you even regulate a day illegal? Rather than say you are trying necessarily to use
to regulate.
So wait, correct. I don't know how can you stop it. Yes. But the process of stopping it, you and I know, say a hot matter. A standing matter. Somebody about ball from one. I say cancer quiz money again. Don't let us go those angles.
So those you should help me better. I think maybe I won't know what now. So a simple description of the forest as in way back walking. So these are the four communities are now forest in Covania. Jolu to the south, Achimota to the west, and both Kisiman and Anumle to the northwest. It means that it was
so if you want to decouple that by an ER money idea,
I don't believe part of
Kisiman is not wetlands.
Yeah.
We need
no.
You see wetlands and wetlands.
Yeah.
And you see, idea
so you see where you don't know.
But I'm saying that
don't go there. Let me show you an example. Men can say wetlands now copper fire. Go to Somenia. Now there are places that were taken over by now forest reserves money are there. It was a place that was taken over by Ensue. Money are there. It's what by here it is straps. Money are there. Ensue ni na recede. And people have found is a clinker. So if you tell me say wetlands now copper firewood
at the time we doing the acquisition,
Jesus Christ.
It is the current nature of the place never determined.
Joulu. So Joulu was part of it. Joulu was part of it. Joulu was part of it.
Joulu is part of it.
Joulu to the south.
Joulu to the south, which means it's part of it.
Yeah, Joulu has been part of it. And then Joulu.
And are you going to say if you are decoupling that so that the current one that should stand should form the basis of the Achimota forest in terms of its EI.
So the EI is going to regularize Joulu. Is that what you're saying?
So that those because
I'm asking, is it part of the coordinates are now Modi share EI?
What do you say?
No, you are saying say you are. You see.
Okay, Minister,
you see. EI now it was to declassify the forest.
Declassify which portion of the forest?
A portion or the forest?
Which portion? No. Which portion? Some portion. And for what reason? And for what purpose?
Pacho, you say. One amuko use the word peripheral.
Yes, good. You are telling me. Hey, look, sir, Masa, you know that I know. Sir, old family. When government does compulsory acquisition, it pays compensation. What is it? You have no
compensation is not a final determination. If the compulsory acquisition is legitimate or not.
No, you are supposed to.
No, you are supposed. But it doesn't determine. Yes, it doesn't mean that compulsory acquisition is not a liar.
No, we're compulsory acquisition. You see, Lawyer Jan, Kwame Jan, he told me something about acquisitions. Look, when something is compulsorily acquired, you pay prompt and adequate compensation.
Yes.
It's like the constitution.
These are and I'm telling you that you just don't pay compensation, but prompt and adequate compensation. And if government compulsorily acquired Achimota Forest, it paid and they understand is a 4,000 pounds. Now the family is claiming say abayin tuya.
That time in
2021. Okay. Now somebody is claiming say abayin tuya. Fair enough. If you think Achimota Forest, what do? You go to court to vindicate claims. Nobody has been to court. And this argument say, and start here. Why didn't President Kufuor declassify those portions of the forest? Why didn't Atamis declassify? The petitions come more. But I didn't even Muhammad ran away from it because of the implications. And you've indicated coordinates. HSA. These are the portions you are going to declassify. Peripheral.
So those portions in Ifa.
In 1927, the establishment of Achimota Forest Reserve was not solely for conservation purposes. And it may be almost back at was
no something I'm school until you can text me. But you see, I'm just trying to get the coordinates. Look, Omahini. They are seeking to declassify 361.50 acres. Are you telling
361.50 acres?
Yes.
That's huge.
So are you saying, sir, from Achimota, Kisiman baby ACC dying golf course all the way to wetlands, any Jolo, 361 acres?
Now, could we say
it's not even up to
it's not up to Kisiman Kesi. Do you know Anika?
Anika is 4 plots.
Yes, 4 plots. It's do you know Anika?
So 360.
You're asking me whether I know what an acre is.
Contract.
No, instead of you change the fact, you see where on my question I think you see
Jolo Nkwai saying
na Jolo no Kesi.
Jolo is big.
And it's 361 is it?
No, what I'm trying to say
1,400.
And I'm trying to tell
you 1,400.
What I'm trying to tell you is that if you are declassifying just 361 acres, then there will be portions left. What you might say, even those ones that are developing, there will still be portions left. Because portions now, if you are saying say West Logo Nina Kahun, No way. It is. We are talking about thousands of acres, not 361. So if you are declassifying already encroached upon lands, sir, it shouldn't be 361 acres.
No, but then
no, any person or tears any say. Yeah, encroaching upon. But declassify. You are telling me, say, oh, sit down, a chat. You can say reserve Nisha. Until and no, now a person so that they can have title. And I'm saying it's not true. Okay. Near one,
they say they are declassified 361.
And you're in the divine.
Here and a half and the buy, a half a day.
And you're forest reserve.
Forest reserve day. What is here and I said, but you see, at once when you talk at water first, don't go closely. So when I'm crying, what talk starting from 1927.
Don't only 1927. I'm just working with your.
So you see your boundaries, you know.
Good. Now we need the free money idea. Don't just go directly to say I'm just being fair. I'm only feeding him with information. You should not be just close to say, may try on this table.
Exactly. It disrupts the chain of. We'll see. Nientia ye declassify way no to allow people gain title to already developed and encroached upon lands. And then you went as far as saying it goes all the way to West Legon.
I gave you the original expanse of the land.
Very well.
As in 1927. That is where Achimota Forest started from. So don't say start from the basis.
That. And I'm saying
you have to start from the basis.
I'm not distorting what you have said. I'm only merely repeating your kind. Say EI 144 ya mudibai. It is to declassify those portions that are already been encroached upon. And yes, sir. So, and I'm saying no. And I'm saying it couldn't be because the total land mass of Neo-Okekura is in thousands of acres. But the EI is seeking to declassify portions that is amounting to 361.50 acres. That is one. Two, they indicated specifically say peripheral.
Yeah.
Now, West Legon, any Achimota, do you refer, unless you don't understand what periphery means and peripheral means?
Don't necessarily see so.
No.
What the money with Wadaroma?
Mr. Say that's all right. So don't say unless I want tears. August I want to periphery. You should not just be looking at it a quiet.
I'm saying say you can't be the
let him flow. That's what I'm writing.
So if you say the peripheral of you can say Achimota Forest, where should we be looking at? Uko all the way to West Legon, is that peripheral? If you are looking at Kisiman, makes sense. If you are looking at Sa Kwaina, you can say Dimples Kwaino, it makes sense. If you are looking at maybe Gimpa area also, it makes sense. But Kanuni says it's not Gimpa in Sasino. It is still surrounded by forest. Unimsa.
Yeah.
And some portions soon I be declassify. And don't tell me say West Legon ni you can say
surrounding
Gimpa ni there are still forest areas. Almost you be declassify. What you say? Push they took it to you can say. They said that committee be to work out the details. You should see the site plan of Nyomuya.
But you have followed this matter.
And if you are telling me, if you are telling me, oh, this is not a matter buying way by and phone, and an amica will say, so abaying be about they go. Abaying be about they go to them. Every you and I know what you say because you are involved somewhat.
Yeah.
What you must say. And this is something I hear and if you are telling me, phone because abaying way by they are too compassionate until they decided say. You better declassify those portions that they are not over for no. On what basis are you even doing that? Would ma over for no? Say Abaya Jatum said they didn't pay them compensation and now say a year out of generosity and now a year DN.
Okay.
But like I said, let's even grant cross say this is an important area when it comes to the fight against carbonization and climate change, you know. Let's even grant for the sake of argument cross to say Abayin to compensation a mom. Says here Abayin here that portion. Abayin can easily, and I'm saying Abayin, I'm not saying Abayin to but I'm just saying for the sake of argument, Abayin more compensation. Abayin can still compulsorily acquire it and pay them adequate compensation. But Abayin see the bill, the only reserve I will Accra, yen declassify name for be more over for no. Adia debia, you go to donor communities. Green Ghana is it not because we want to plant trees? Nakakra one we declassify for development. And look, I listen to the minister. Or see it's up declassify. They would use it for development.
I'm on the peripheral buy.
So and once they declassify the peripheral, no, they are going to do development, which means
I think with a quick question. Did the EI outline those specific areas?
And my coordinates, yes, it did.
So the
you see, you can read coordinates by just looking at them. What you
so then, how then you make your argument on this? So how then do you make your argument on it? And show where. Send me what you say. You made specific mention to a place.
I didn't say coordinates here.
That is why.
And I'm saying, sir, you can look at the coordinates.
I said you made a specific point to say,
and I'm telling you, sir, you set up a committee to give meaning to some coordinates.
It's an
Have you seen the side?
It's an
No, have you seen the side?
No, I've seen the side plan.
Side plan, where does it show?
You don't even know the place. You don't even know. You're only speculating.
Okay. And I'm asking you.
You're only speculating.
Okay.
Just because passionate.
And I'm telling you, sir, your explanation. If you are speculating, and I see a kissy man, any
don't go there. Don't go there. You see, that is the problem I have.
History.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
My history to me back. My history to Achimota Forest dating back 1927.
Which is something if you get to everybody who cares to follow the story is aware of.
Very well.
Anyway, he proceeded to say so that they can have title to their already encroached upon lands, no. Until the declassification, no. Me boy. And to the Bisano. Classified area, no. On chair baby potia. And then I speculated Bisano. On minister.
Well, just 1 minute so that he appreciates a thing. And I like his old man. Okachan is I gave you the history, and that is the fundamental basis of your argument. Also, me I think what's the mean just me trust I mean come there.
No, we enjoy.
Okay, so
that's man you there. Men koye say we see kissing man Jolu the already na e catch motor forest huntia.
Okay.
And then you say na netie. From 1927, you are not really repeating it. You are only making a point. You are only making a point. And secondly, your man, one thing he must also understand. Pan is one. The payment of compensation, lawyer ni. And yet a sole requirement determine it finally. So buy in 20 won't be compulsory. It should be prompt, adequate. But and yet the biana buy or utia compensation. Because if you don't put in the claim, no annual assessment when you're there, and secondly, and it happens so many until a new land at here the buy. On my year when we say Jesus Christ
paid 4,000.
Okay, so
was it for the entirety of all? What was it for? The acquisition was done in two phases. The first one for the school and the second one and for 5 years.
I think let's progress, Minister. Let's progress.
They were not acquired at the same time. They were not acquired at the same time. Was it the 4,000 was paid? Yes.
Let's proceed. My own house for Kayese and a homo. Let's proceed. Back to Minister, your mics are off. Your mics are off. Minister, Debbie, let us Minister, it doesn't help. We started very well, but maybe you run another area and my own house was making. That means I think it's about It be so my ones for no working. Quality modern house, very affordable. Fibia so mutuama on Mansu be no. One of Finibio East Legon, Trasaco area, Airport Hills, Ebri. Ajirigan Oyarifa Medina Boba and Afi Medina Estate Free 0508 938 412 and 0508 938 925. My own house, say own your dream house today. This is open diaton quadia uno muni eye inkita. Me Bambo Life Insurance also on MTN and both Telecel. Hollard Life Assurance say Francis we Nedi super penafi one kasabon say in times of need, one member to your aid in the Holland Life say an idea or Telecel and also or MTN so very simple. You are just dialing *269# no register either on MTN or Telecel into Odiana say Ojiatum say Udi 2 Ghana cedi, 10 Ghana cedi, 25 Ghana cedi, and 50 Ghana cedi busumi biano na Odiatum asembi tupura ejina shisha no mo ubunya sika sombo 30,000 Ghana cedi. Until register with your Ghana card automatically wajiatum say yentiti say sika ni free mobile money wallet mu nti ube nipa so obetimi amoma edi akagina mu so edi ama enipa mako enso obetima ya oyere o ma wa ofo onana no wonse onum nti get on we emashumdwe with Hollard Life Mebambo and live the best of life. Namasaka was a Kingdom Home Estate is there. When I see your madam crana we equipim ekropon a brick quantum pony so. Indeed, the all catch you say, Biashun quabitimi at Tanadjo Hokama and Kanya was a money problem. In so was a money problem. Acquiring a CCTV cameras now standby generators singing BBI is in order. So says Opesa Kingdom Home Estate dying Biatoa. Oh, Fre one was 055 9761 144 055 9761 144. Afe penny pan so ebe construct ewo amanone inti miabeti se mo US Canada and UK no breno so ebe kai mo so ho na mo timi na din komo WhatsApp so 055 5612 611 me koso ka se Franco si emetone ma papa so Nokia, Samsung, iPhone, Smart TV, Franco air condition, chest fridges and refrigerators, washing machine, CCTV camera ni na so no obenye biato of Franco for Franco 40246 422338 and 055 5939311 now what you Franco for Edinki Town. Give us one in papa on the abedjas your give us cool capsules ekutia sisiade yem team anafe eye koko ni amamai anafe give us heba mixture so malaria and typhoid onuma to a free order. Give us GC mixture and the capsules also at that time of the month in your man multi pain and I say ojo so bema so tis a trump year. Give us GC mixture afi give us P capsules also no wo honma na hu say obema no seem to be babe mu rashes bin the kaka no kope give us P capsules bi na emwa oko pharmacy bia o memu ba bia unye bi and as a phrase 0543 222 470 or 050681 135 no etimi won edi eye enkita ho kama yebekọ so ato eye you can say Seahorse 50-50 engine coolant ni bi. If say auto sa Seahorse 50-50 engine coolant no na bo engine who buy from overheating or engine so no and a radiator tank no say na chimwe pa de bi afi a prolongo engine so lifespan na afi aboa ma fuel consumption so wetima manage ni na ma smooth driving it say coolant in kwanda 50-50 Seahorse engine coolant in so petrol. Your other grades your 3367 coolant no and it's our 1090 coolant nina ebo engine by makan medical tools emuda hokama de maw so person komo etim ya na opebi atofre 0244 577 559 and 0540 424 386 na wetim ni won edi eye enkita ho lawyer chum very much party mboko
nyameti ase
good
ya fanchiama etiefo na menchia menua akosi man trim kwanso every day can say yes share as you said after ne nomination and then confirmation as well. Now I mean at taking so. In French, I can say somewhere a Ghana for ne nka musa anymore His Excellency John Dramani Mahama se ochia wo munyara. Said the okay I don't do was me there to so e ko said ebe. One mo be share me so the out front city one dia bo front city because me hu ka be said man kwasiada so me hu say wo front city na the Monday no me no benya issue kakra wa.
You say the ben my bam ya discuss one. We the old 2 at 7 na say.
We got na front city na yakwe. Having said that na enkai man for say on nsem bebre na egu akwam na se waka kire Ghana for enema adom no a opepese obeye dia Ghana for and just to reiterate about one or two in your nkuma and they wo musua de no mabaye atichafo ochina mle kakra munie bebre na no make say wo makwa ho kire mu kakra when it comes to the issues of their licensure examinations.
You know more trust as well. I
mean, one more Asian, the better traffic. So, one more Asian, the now more we never trust. And don't go how come. Yeah, and yeah, sure, Moby. I said, born the airborne and Kay said, everyone. But I see Gideon idea, whom he announced woman that's so. Umunyamon that's so, sir. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, I do not do not what Tanaban Swa. There wouldn't be anything called licensure examinations. Yeah, it's here as lawyer for you. The internal licensure examination be had, or as I say, or final examinations or whatever name you call it. To win your true way, the can say pay back. A country be answered, they will see a license and lawyers. It be straightforward. It being so yes, people we are now apply now second, for instance in Ghana. So what I say, and we answered the necessity, but you know, one got no a licensure examination be right. So that thing will be a thing of the past come January 2025 and beyond. Lastly, the American come home and beyond say in Pacubin to a mime who are did my son ye at the boy, many a bit more than say as an MPD on him, assembly members. Who do my dear Sumpana and say, Macola Bia could be. Na menende ko share yibi asna jaman for born na ne onna born na James na no ya na odian say one onna boy was lawyer amani ami hunu me na o CF fra woni na say na we asi wa ha na nya na be boy na be say anyuma zu gwa hwi nim assembly members nyina abosha John Dramani Mahama Shemuni was say sadu no do no ba looking at how tedious your work is. You will be recognized this time around, and recognition say at least some allowance that will cushion you a bit will be given to you people. Enti monso munya no mo ahwe mo ene mo nda so na mo fo mo nto so na mo mo ama ntimi mbram no mbra am esa ade na mo o ma me dey see was around the meka no say ensa asese mo ye kan me dey be free in duadua no ho enkomo me case me no kura e wo behind the scene ana me bisa say o ma mpani I think this one akwa be makam I can't was in 10 million dear and to be a ye. Name 40 million over there. I am some millions about Sukakra. I'm all kind of my categories of Indiana. I have one more day or almost so modiano. Now, maybe my first point and that's the first question to be on Busan Sakora. In Yanabu, Adrian and Kramen Casancran for India, Nasan Crans are seen India, no. But Menoka say, a dear Bakwa, what should I fight free in crime? Of course, I require one man idea. Boss, I don't think. They are quite a jaded in our mine said you mine illegal mine. Illegal mine. I never would two free hours or I will question your country was a woman illegal mine and some more. And I was a crop. Was a crop, sorry, thank you. And you met your meter there. Actually, was it didn't know you. But the mamma 30,000 and your concession 1 month. I didn't know to really. I was shocked. An advocate for illegality. Yes, I compromise him. Say, but the men pay 30,000 mom for concession within a month. They say how they be bringing now, because they are seeing good money. What you say? Enti mine no say a person pekobra question. Me free Eastern region. Menena na du kromwa from Chebia kopi me kro bompe. Mine nko a wonim ono na na de kwa na dan kwa say question. He knows it. Nimfitire nyina yetu. Kwaso gidi. Enti na nka me de na minimum say. and nam some mining no the way I see an essence as in a casinti. See a tree planting. Nanka baby, I say soon, Rianas and a son of Bayano. And Nanka Yadiana do Munanka at me and yes, in the back. And someone like I say, some many areas here are saying, but I mean, who near your it's a mean quite a bit of me and the others I'm watching. And this year, because you're doing you have 40 million, correct? And yet, to be when you're near good damn how 40 million trees, correct? And yes, me, I'm wondering the kind of land that you do as a piano also, because ever soon, and you are what I mean, you're the boy. Because me, I'm much interested in baby Umudias Indian. Because I'm wondering how you see a deal near 40 million for the past 4 years, and I'm
yes,
4 years, right?
Yes,
good. Then for the past 4 years, near deal near about 50 million per year, but just a moving million according to Mampanino was about 10 million and 10 years. To you say you do 50, 10, and yet I can't 40 more. Say assessment and one a year. I don't know what now can say. I mean, assessment has to say 10 a year, no 10 million a year.
Forestry for the
yeah. Who did that? How did the person get to know the 10 million? I don't know who, because then it will bring me to the point to say, you know where those trees were planted. And the man with me come and say, we are not me assessing that 10 million. You can was no. There are 1,001 questions when it comes. Maybe a million say the amount of money I must spend it. I almost want to do 50 million trees. No, true. I don't believe it, and I want my good brother Abuja to come back again. Because my panic cannot do because 50 million 10 million penny. Because of my tears, you're doing 50 million power. Minions a cassin and Kenny. I don't believe it. And then back to the issue of say, and in forest areas in one my ya Jame Musafadia, Ubetimia, at your good deal. Why the trans years assessment?
Assessment. They use sampling intensity of 20% per.
When they assess
sampling intensity to determine say survival rate.
Now make a kind of story of is it Tanon Nimirim for reserve. I want some back. I'm a type. I know what to do. One not tell you. And I will interview to me about it. Make that the minute I was global. At me, okay, I was a third person, but not me titles and I think there was somebody else also. And near what them were. And you were doing the interview. Alright? From the video that we saw, done by your own Joy News or I mean Joy from whatever. One choir, yeah, Branty and could drone pictures with the videos. Thank you. At the bachelor, yeah. Not for us, not send the power. And as a near send the power. And somebody is able to tell me, say, that Western region enclave, no, sense as in a gun, yet Macquarie will be quite sense. Are we serious as a country? One man is something for you to come up with your camera. Mr. Who now driving on interstate highways, swat. Now, when I see it down in near America, I don't know someone from Zimbabwe. Is it Uyuana? And is it dear?
Oh, training as if
and Miss Adana car born or that what they would have no crown. A crown and daddy. Yeah, I won't be. And we are happy to say, your mark prices for us will be minded. No question. And the whole institution, state institution, like man say, I also protect you. I didn't mind and say what I didn't be what more dear mark from what you read. We are not serious as a country. You're not serious because I mean, and then you preaching a friend saying, I'm saying, the Omkong Israel and this idea, I'm saying, is it green something? Oh, the last one quite almost about 1,000. I would
Dubai, no.
That would be Dubai. And
COP28.
COP28.
It's conference of parties.
Huh? And no, one more catch out sense. I see
Israel.
No, I think last year the end was Israel.
Wait,
No, it was Dubai.
Or Egypt. No, for the last year the other was yeah, before this one, yes. I think
26 was in Scotland.
Okay.
27 they didn't pay.
No, I think it was in Egypt also.
Was in Dubai,
yeah. I think it was Egypt, either Egypt or Israel, one of them.
Oh, okay.
And so woman now woman be can say young protect your forests. Young preserve say anymore when and your book had the free was woman could sense be. And one could see about almost so much translation in the sense as if you want the Indian phone call, not a dino because you young mining. And we are happy to say this. We are happy to write this.
And then Tia mining.
Mean Tia mining, but the rate they said yes, no. Anglo go the yen,
controls mining.
I will boss to say one more saying so. O mining. Near Tennessee. But night, I mean, sure, I wouldn't add a dog room when it's a pie. You're going to say, I'm a question about Darman.
Even when the ministry finds that a certain entity is guilty of illegal mining, the president comes to say there be.
And what? I thought our mandate is to protect and preserve. So you protect us, you preserve. O mine said in your mine region bia one forest areas. Mr. Asantima Muka by Ufa, but some trendy room by choir. You walk Asantima forest be the why I say how quite in Kumutun for or some ritual be and that you tell
because one restrict and the bankrupt for mountain.
I didn't ya.
And go to Fonsan issue.
I didn't
bankrupt for mountain.
And I was Santima for him and the Muson could do any British or say one day and then you come the mountain more than mine. What a large scale mining, they mind wounds.
I think that as we move, Atik, we need to allow that space, but regulate it well with enforcement and supervision.
The regulators are the ones giving these people the
okay. Are we not having regulations now?
Oh,
but you have a whole look. There were police, there were soldiers. What is wrong with this? Say
I know my when I buy a sassy. Yet you want land as a land neighborhood. Oh, my lawyers. Ghana. Administrative director sitting before Parliament Select Committee, telling them happily, say there's a cinema land and some woman in protest my young. What Ghana Armed Forces go?
You were police.
Or Ghana Police Service war. But one million mama assassin. They can't protect police land.
A private Ghanaian.
They can't protect a military land. They can't protect land for government. But land guards can protect it for you.
How? The ministry will not deal with land guards. The ministry, how would they deal?
Okay, who is a land guard? Who is a land guard?
Well, in that context, maybe it's not our kind of definition for a land guard.
Who and whose kind?
But a land guard is land guard. But what really comes to mind? What is it land guard in this case?
Somebody who tries to protect the land on behalf of somebody else.
It's a land guard.
Maybe the means can be violent, but there are some peaceful land guards.
But no, but it's true. It's true. Your definition is
no, but it's true.
So if the person is protecting or securing that place,
no, but so hold on. So the challenge
you relinquish that
challenge
individual. Oh, come on.
The challenge is that.
But is it out of place for a ministry to sign that contract?
It is extremely out of place.
Okay.
Because there are thousands of soldiers who are here. That area with the military pickup back.
So we have all failed.
Never just five.
We have all failed because
we have not failed. We have not failed.
But it cuts across.
No, holding them responsible. That's what we are supposed to do.
The person in question, the private entity in question, it didn't start today.
You see, this is when
government
is a continuum. It's a hopeless situation.
That is why the honorable deputy minister was trying to reference you that please, if you want to go to hold them straight,
then now you be like, oh, it started on the NDC. Say this time, when
you are discussing matters, you have to have the bigger picture.
What is the bigger picture? That you give it to an individual.
You are talking patriotism. What are the two critical institutions?
Yes,
the military
and the police. Yes,
and then we have allowed this space to flow.
Who has allowed?
When you speak, we are all partakers in this matter.
I am not.
Of course. But you sat down.
I'm taking myself out.
It's not possible.
Why is it we? I don't have the authority to decide who to give some power or who to
Look, you calm down.
You speak as if you're not decide here.
Because we have allowed a lawyer. Time immemorial.
Okay.
This is what has been happening to us.
And recently, you say they decide you
it doesn't make it right.
Oh, I mean, but you see,
it doesn't make it right.
It's something that's bent, and you want to put it out there. Wait, it's your mind. If something has bent, you are not even getting it. It is going under the drain. So you have to have a transition to take it off. And now, outrightly forward, what is the crime in that? Don't say
recently government doesn't really take lands.
No, I mean
most of them acquisition for purposes. If you see oh abayin so person see ebia hanom obisi ebia quarter sama abayin me fontin abayin
our summer project.
For example, yeah,
ebia higher abayin so the base bibia abayin bia no working for a particular purpose. I remember those days when my father joined police service, Patasi police depot. As I said that now for one put the year abrufo. And just as a and so now minimum the entire Ghana police service at me and transfer woman singing in echo. I'm like a small portion of my fence. I knew that place from my brother passed out around 1991. So I knew that place very well in the 90s. Correct?
oh my.
A good example of the police service.
Police service.
No, and
so the woman say Ghana police service and protect us as ya jamo in the name of a bank. I'm a cop. And I knew you could watch a original commander, Ekumasi. And I can most of the I think Swamedia for Chrome and yet or tries of obey my secure. Kakan because I can no answer. So the question is, I ban a sign that they are by a my institution. Not much. And so it's from Masako. Yet me more by. Me were institution a grow 1991 make us pass out. The number of police personnel in Ghana then and yet the same as today. So the number keeps on increasing. Maybe go be 2005, 2006. The number then was not as today. The number is still increasing. Now Ghana Army, the numbers are increasing. I wouldn't be surprised if in the future
it was there for a purpose.
It was there for a purpose. But I'm not buying to my phone to put that one there. Me was a member Kotomas Asana Obi Koswa. Nam and I knew the Kaswa de Abranti Kowi. Everyone inquire a to Nebon. Police station of Koyuba. Or Konasasum and Okobi Abaso. And I say, Sabana member Yagi police station. Police station and officer were working at Tom and put in protection their own asset. They can't protect their own asset. So we are proud to say that we are giving it to an individual. And government is proud of this.
Okay, so we are also proud to say that Abayajima, yeah, to the JJ, I say private person, MFA, I think we run it by how.
Yeah. You know my stand. Yeah. I'm in New York about me. Yes, that two position here. When you come to that, I am never and I will never be in support of that. And I can be. Me say with the main individual no. And you be one on the son of four phone and never beg back when I'm on the phone. Police for corona. Why can't you use the same people to get the same results?
I don't get it.
What is the big deal here? And your angels, and yes, a man for, and your by 470. And Nipa Korea, and we did say you are the extra quarter, then manager, or then the secretary, and we still can't maintain what belongs to us.
Aviation lands are very claiming. Emuni hina akafa about to do whatever.
I can't aviation for the FNB.
Just a nipa na musi you reclaim. Go reclaim and answer no why.
Lawyer,
man, you see, let me near to some about police in Sasi or Patasi and generality way back in general sense. Chum. Edu Tembia, we should be a bit careful how we run matters. For instance, so I okay. Also can no for a purpose. Nti bi abekokra nana. Also mo de mo between asrafo mo fa ha nyina anko. Because that time no, he had no primary use of it. Nti bi wa banji a na da ho. Nti bi o de bepim table ya no a yenya betena so ya bi na aka de dofu. Oh had oh mbetimi adidi aba ha. Nti in your mind's eye when you grow who say oh na na bi no odo ha. Post before you so ado a. If say candy de ma wo mo. I'm saying this under caution. I'm just telling you, say, not all that you see, and it's just a honor nepim. To do tembia, you should no. As I make what's the mention I say? Yes, no, don't stand to differ. That's my point. If you get it, you can't stand to differ.
I stand to differ.
And secondly, the same way if you say grow no. I feel no baby or the man will copy me no. If you cry now when triaka, original one or the man will copy when triaka. Inti na ono so no ni kuro nyini inti ene ye entrance de me akra wa ntimi entua ni yenka inti eno afi eba na baabi na impo edi kan no de ma wo no ogibia. You should also clearly understand say ni na ye giye no atowo bi enfie be aduonum ni ya ye ntua ka kuro no so aba ebeto no ti wosi ye giye bi mo de ma kuro no na kuro no so di nyina. Don't make it sound as if say enu ntin wa we ya eni over compulsory acquisition, but we nya baby ade ko wotisi ma no obi so ate ese ekire. Because the point is that ade ni nane ana ye ntintin so da achi mu ne de hwe si agibia to ho ne na da achi etimi de aye. But we nya nyenye na waji ato ne bia wontua ka wonfa nya de wo ye no so no ko no so nyini beto a nananom ye deni ana wona asase so yo mo de ano to we don so lay claim because omo kro ni enyini. So you must be careful how we go about some of these things. Okay, and secondly, okay. The whole idea, that is why I saw man a very good question money idea. So the idea she suma say the share will be obinsa for a long time in the pane. Now obi any be boss kasa. The idea should be inside will suma say more ye. Then let's bring it to the fore so that we can regularize and take it off once and for all. Don't say that it will not take time. Odu buka show o mine insa. O mine me book idea. Hwe so de bia ma me be nipa me anxiety he yenim. Ono no de adwuma na ama no ti afia de to abontina me ehunu se be ye betimi ehunu book ne dodo okra wo ye ho adwuma na yetimi aka ho asema.
But that's why I take the NTS.
But you good. But baby a start fee and what you say. Because governance is a continuum. Ti adint to start fee. And the one please. So if it is wrong, if it is wronger, you have to change it. How do you have to change it? You cut it straight away.
Nanga.
Just look at that. Please, Edu Tembia just you see, when we sit there, no, don't do that.
Of course, that's what you'll be not say. I
never said no one no kwati susu no ko. Who's one na kwati susu no ko.
This is any panusha.
I took a grind say, don't do that.
What are the implications?
No, so you should know.
Educate me. What are the implications?
So you don't just start coming and sit there and just go straight.
When we demanded the agreement even between government and Sanipan, who has been able to produce an agreement?
When you demanded what? Because the audition in San Juan be. Don't go there. Nobody is moving.
The point is only
the problem that you have is you're saying you don't have a problem with yourself. No. Because you are so passionate about now can say anwa. The take MC and over no continent and that is please wait. Don't just run like that. Because and that is the interest that you have.
Said yes, I need predecessor. I met
but the contract
Mr. Benito,
is between the ministry and the private person.
And I make an NOC, it didn't start with them no signing yet.
Okay.
And
so there will be a copy there.
When we demanded the agreement, then nobody's producing any agreement.
I think don't worry too much about some of these things.
Why shouldn't I be worried?
So I'm going to tell you why you should not be worried too much about these things. The money are there. First and foremost, I be open, bold enough to confront the beginning, so that you know how the trajectory is made back. So that the end
please.
The name Fifi now fe. Send panel started that way.
You see what I know that there is even such an arrangement.
So you go and find out.
You are not.
Yeah, catch on my in the criteria or catch your house.
You know, can I miss him?
Or catch your son starting also mine no can be. Yes, I catch him.
You choose to listen to whatever you want to listen to. Service
and last Friday was the last Friday. I think I know people be a right information bill at that moment.
And I mean, can you try a
let her try me. Let her try away. When there was a phone, we scanning your day, let her try. Nyabutre, Opa, and Sabeka, or the TT, Opa, and Sabeka, so whom here. In 2 partners. They say Nyabutre,
thank you.
Opa, and Sabeka.
Very good.
There are so many avenues, right information that you are
which means you can give me
a simple copy. Oh, it doesn't say what your
and then hold on.
To the all right information that you know the acquire. So Nyabutre, one Sabeka, as I make I want here now, Mancase movie. Which means I can get all right information.
Your bills are effective today, so you're aware.
What?
Your bills.
Unfortunately, yes. I'm aware.
No, yes. Unfortunately, yes.
Now, who likes to pay bills? Intimacy, unfortunately, yes. I'll see.
That's unfortunately, yes.
So it's not unfortunate. So bills are going up.
What is unfortunate about, say, you need constant regular supply of enema?
I'm talking about bill payment and not constant supply.
You are paying bill of what? Bill for what? You are paying bill for something.
So if we had a stable currency, I would still pay my old bills and still have constant supply. So it's an unfortunate situation.
So
but the most important thing
water is up by 5.16%.
That's unfortunate.
Electricity up by 5.
Very unfortunate. We understand, but it's necessary.
Effective today.
Mancasa is not.
Reasons
so
is what the minister just said, that reliability, efficiency. No,
don't I mean,
no, you see, we run so quick. No, I want to. You see, the reasons are.
What's here? As a party, can you insist so? And that generator no run you.
My way, I think we can now. Most of these increases. Most of these increases, but I think because reference was there be a queen in here. The point that the PRC has always says I never way back. Said the Beya or my but for young Arabian Quebec Coastal, Mekai pass. The former president has always said, one is about utilities. We should be ready to pay realistic prices. And I support that.
How many times have they done it this year?
Oh, baby. Yes, so that we don't or the Abba. The fact that at a point we were called to pay realistic prices. The reason that has always been attached to these increases, efficiency, reliability, and all those things.
So they are increasing because of efficiency. What something has to trigger the increase. They are increasing prices. When you take the the setting of electricity tariffs, are they have an average end user tariff? There are components, about 5 of them. We have a different bulk, you can say generation charge and a cost. Then you have transmission, and then losses in transmission, distribution, and then losses in transmissions. And to me, Bisa say, amongst these 5 components, which one is triggering the That's as for like everyone knows which you have bills now. Utilities in Jessica, there will be reliable supply of electricity. But at this critical point, Bisa. Is it because of exchange rate? And our cost of generation, our cost because of BB. We need to know.
Exchange rate, you can't take it away.
Absolutely.
You can't take it away.
No, Kasampa.
It is important. Say yes. If exchange rate is an impact of it, nobody will run away from it. But it is also important, say a part of it to be able to maintain the reliability of supply. We have to embrace some of these things. Nobody is saying a bar air day. But it will be disastrous to say.
But Minister, in embracing it, have you looked at the condition of the canal?
Oh no, Oman. Yes, I agree with that. But don't you think Oman, the condition of the ordinary Ghanaian probably and papa said the OBS pen to the ultimate good I hear but it is far better than previous. Maybe.
I think I didn't know.
One Ghana. Na enumu ntwa so mfie nsia and go and tell the ordinary Ghanaian and I say openesa so when times are moving, yes, we acknowledge the hardship, but it is better say you get that reliability in terms of it in sebe ho opa de fa to form say ye de che de kotokra nefa na nipa ne kotu no onya bia and between say radio so de buntwe nefa so that at least a bit me am wanya adim na man ho ha na nobody is saying that is the good thing that we, but to be able to maintain that na nipa kwani abadie ne ye niema aye ne ho be high putting things together, it is far better. So I think we might try make country will say a year na senye, but for us not to go over 6 years continuous in darkness, send it to nesi so near pe na won say nya emoni ade no na the gallon jina baby e pe kerosene akobuagu bobo money ade de I think me nuanu mu betu ase say emu ade nkra na it is far better emoni ade but no man send us to book me da open
Kosukasa.
Hey, doesn't go to 2 point ebe ha me pa.
Yeah, because Kosukasa means stop okra.
Because they say me buy one man chair will be out when I'm cabo point as well. Hey, because I give you an. Oh no, yeah, we want to see there. Oh, omuti. Because if I omuti pa, omuti, and especially when they know say me buy program there, I don't know. Because over camera. Papa Koye no.
Yes.
Stadium hono.
Yes.
Makuba hono.
Yes.
Do you know that people still have the rendition of the songs that Otu Yenini idea?
Oh really?
Oh yes. So they me am send it bia. Is there me tie na na me will be send it. Eddie Abraham me na oje mic no money idea or no money idea. So is how it is me. And I make constituency yes they are watching because they mention idea ba ku ni mutibe no fence out. And money idea nti na mention.
Ana one money running meet.
Nti na mention nya running mate few. Is Dr. Mamu Matthew Poku Prempe. Ntina ma menhia no ne no enigea aba menhia no money ade na ne Ghana men na ne party no so they say so the point is I say because you born din no hwe enika ene sana obeka no se party ne nhye dem party ne nipa na mabonten atwum ya botre amra make I say
na wo mo say go pie we va
but you see the problem too is getting is the problem too enya is omo kan dia chichiro omore so dia say omo kan dia chichiro omore say e wo party mu nko say dey because ye dey planes money ade no be feeding jatan money ade no nti say na omo fi set because we am the shise won ho ye bodi na start now can see na bia ha ne hawo but I mean obia sebi what that kind of nature character affableness money ade because of course party mu nko say ofiefo anyi wa ha na bejo yes so fearful look and the good thing is in opportunity
it's really leadership she cry ye do obi aba obi ajitu
enye obia eno akunya kura to asebi nye nipa ba ko depre nipa ni nyina pra obia wo ba bia no gina but wo wie ne afemu a everybody must be hot on board money ade nobody is going to say eye deni ana no obi buza memra na His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud ba omi anam so no prospective pedo ne bebo money ade obi buza am say na hwan nam susu na hwan money am say you see nipa de dwumadi a hye ne nsa no woni nipa nyina edi nkoma ma akwa akwisi na say me amete me bu mfi aduanan
nezo me qualify
nti na wo ha nya botre na manipa no ebre
besi we dey alanche man
so dey say
me na me kosi ne na me dem ni bi
eti nya botre ya me adom so ye nya botre ma ye di ode abetu dwade atu ye nyina ye nim ye ona bo napo no se ne me nu ye kan se fiefo anyi wanto abonti na party no so enhye dem party na Ghana memo nti se nipa e wo party ni mu ogina tomu a ebetra ko Ghana afa na nyina yes nti na yebom pa ya se nyame adma ya wada krata na kan ba betwem no na ye confirm wie na natina ne tofom ne di akire ne ye kone achi mu na ye nam Ghana man ka de beto aso aye e de abo ma o mining kankro ne yi de enu nipa enya asetena pa me di tum se bedru ho no ma mi je no na professor me kan ma mi because sabi oye ma mi preoccupy and I think so oba panyini money ade
for political purpose when you so mami
one way you professor be a cancer be cancer but you see it makes you closer
it's even helpful
I mean it makes you one way or be want to say and when it's me professor Jane Opoku Ajima. Yeah, heard your no so there. Edibeba, so they say. I heard Edibeba, but I think say yes, you do have make I feel be me feel be until we see there be officer when say na say you are expanding, but yeah, if you say there be obi akwa feni sisi I say there be money at there. But the point is that now at least we have a choice that have been made by our presidential candidate to partner him in the person of Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh. At least the acceptability rate, has been so superb because of the nature and how he's carried himself with the party and the good people of this country.
I think.
Yes, he would also put himself out there.
No problem.
State his position when he are there.
I think so.
Professor there or UPSC.
It's the discretion of the candidates. Obeyi Nipana officer would strengthen the ticket. It's entirely his prerogative to do so. And he says, Anya Baze, Ura Napuna, or settle on. If he thinks that's the better partner, Obetimi, a strengthened ticket now, why not? And media, my only hope is Omunina would work together and then as a unit, and there should be an ultimate goal in mind. Say, want to capture power, and that everybody would apply himself to the task ahead. Now, we are more interested. Me personally, I am more interested in what policies are you presenting. I have said this before. They really and truly, the office of the vice president, in the scheme of things in this country, and Shadan guys are what you are saying. The most important thing is he's able to help the candidate advocate and canvas issues now, or the campaign elections. Just so that at the end of the day, whoever has the best policies, me sure say Ghana for Beto Abanaman. Media, I'm excited to say finally Kuka it was becoming unhealthy for their party and even for the candidate himself. People were beginning to question certain things. Say, is it that he can't be decisive and so on and so forth? And now that he has settled on Nipa or GDC, on bit me, Akuntokano. I think Nina Subicha. And let me commend Ora Kokofu for, showing some magnanimity in the way in your defeat, but
defeat, crap.
What I say, because and look, it's actually a great deal it's actually a great deal of privilege to even be considered.
Yes.
Say in
consideration of things, money ideas. I mean, yes,
great deal. It's a great deal.
Shows.
I'm happy say Wajia to say. But Uncle he still would apply himself to the wheel and then Obia Mwa. I expect the others to also do the same. Now also because I said that people were paying and campaigning.
I think
and
the
so
lead
on.
Contender was
I have no idea who the lead contender was.
The lead
among the leads was Dr. Edu Chu.
That's according to you.
According to you.
Other candidates,
according to the survey, we have 4 surveys by the NIB.
They can't own them.
And I'm saying that but if you are a security person, so you expect that. And I'm saying that so you expect them.
It's not their job.
I don't agree. Because if indeed they should be able to own it up. No, they should be able to own it up. If indeed but finally, look, whoever is going to be the running mate, Nipanu should brace himself up. Look, everything about you is going to now be in the public domain.
Of course. Who did
you be dissected? Look, Myanmar.
So I think that he's been focused all along his political career.
No, not in your animate yet.
No, I understand. I understand.
I was very focused until I became
no, I understand.
Because Obi Sembia from Humasa.
What happened to them?
but you need to be calculated and measured
about that. And that one, I mean,
so that
he has the capacity to do
you
that.
will not be a drag on the ticket.
Yeah.
Because it requires a lot of patience. Music Ghana politics.
Yeah, abutre.
Okay. No, if there's a word beyond abutre, that's what
you have to use.
Now we'll train.
What are train watch it? Okay.
Policies by a political party seeking power is key. But the people coming to drive that policies
very key
are extremely important.
I love it when you bring the people also in it. You see the 3 M's: the
Policy
message,
key.
the medium, and the
but the people coming to
The people
execute that
execute it.
policy.
yeah.
2007, 6, 7, Ebana, Sabin President Kufota Moya Besson.
Ekufado.
Na Dini Baba, who's young commander Betrum, Dr. Dukufo, Yankrabi Fadat, were named the Bibri Hakmozajama, Yasafma for Ali Muhammad, never Wabasa. Yet Bibri. Downtime, the Nabakan and Nadu was leading because Nadu don't have Bunny Deans on Adrun, so and so call that. So you are all hearing that. But now people were raising some concerns about the character. Say, Papa, no, as a hand time when move, as we drive grass away, you no man for concerns and but I won't go. When you're cry on Tessa, you're dumping, now you're rubbish. Bra. And you go to me, Michelle. And now, so now more can run on board and more Ghana for Mama.
I mean, you are
live and color. Ghana for Neddy one dancing.
I mean,
lead not
thy son into temptation.
Nobody's going
to say, oh, can't say when you are being definite. I mean, and your question, I will be and your question. I think, you see, and your question, and your question
say no on Tisa not Tisa. That's they're getting to the end of his tenure.
The
bottom can make a judgment whether he can and
the money the character and someone that
I mean, I need your that is where we get the problem.
As you do what you want to.
That's only when you are basing that on say owner, but when you are
this is a country of culture.
When you are leading people to make a bad, and why you don't do it. One out here can see a politics so be more a butre. So you don't lead a conversation. Don't lead a conversation. Don't lead a conversation that would end up for people to speculate about people. It's not right.
He's not the first to speak about it.
You don't lead people to speculate about people. No. Don't lead people to speculate about people.
But no former president must leave this country after his tenure.
Okay.
Whether France or whether UK unko bibia obi antena krom ha. Me say it should be a standard.
That's what I can do. You see never anyway.
How do you tell me, sir? What are the reasons? That President Kuffono meet no antia because me call baby out. That's what here. No be a
okay. You can mess the country up and go.
Yes, what is the definition of mess?
What do you mean?
What is the definition?
Do you guys speak as if somebody has messed this country and wants to leave?
Nobody is doing that.
You are saying it. Personalizing it to who?
You know him.
Our president,
you see, that was a speculative way. It is very bad for discussion.
Our presidents after 7 us. Our presidents after 7 us. You are not a determinant of where they are supposed to be.
That discussions.
Let's make it.
What has that got to do with good governance? That
I think never don't go there. So you see, don't leave speculative discussion.
We have the likes of J. Kufo and John Dramani Mahama. What role and our bank what we should know? I'm more Quenya and say, oh, Tio input and otherwise.
I'm not talking about your input.
You need speculative discussions and you generate discussions that are not relevant.
Then I leave the country in chaos. Then I go and stay.
But
we should make it a rule. You see, I say we a former president, you should not leave.
I think that my headline. Don't worry. My headline. And right now, put my headline.
I think the first two
chief directors. You have a role.
The same powers.
What is the same powers?
What can the chief director do?
You see, everybody, even them,
because they have the same powers.
What is the same powers?
I'm asking.
Or you're part of the governance system.
It's very important.
So and they're important.
Very important, and there's no doubt about that.
I can say that because people had issues with Nana Akufo-Addo's character, those who knew him very well, he got someone indirectly. And then this man, I crown, ocean a person. What they want to do, no one, you know, and for that reason, and you move through or no so. Ekosiisen panaso, and you know it.
So you've made it. Conclusion. When you draw a conclusion on somebody's character is a problem. I would allow him, but there's no problem to draw a conclusion on people's character. I'm not saying that I'm very for him, so you can continue. But it's not good to draw a conclusion on somebody's character. Nobody has also elected me a moral judge.
He's not judging. He's making his analysis.
When you compare and contrast that, it means you firmed it up. It is wrong.
Osusu say His Excellency our President on the Jume Banewe. Osusu say baby no pe akwanya wa mbemu no awo omemu no wanya because na nyoma bi te say obi ese o mama ne ho so o ye say ebutia no it is suban ne
it compare will be so it is definite. It's your compare will be an idiot to say no. He said that. I see compare will be an idiot to say no. It is wrong. That is wrong. On my end, no. You have to please me, lawyer.
If you don't agree with me, perfect.
Lawyer, go to your point.
Can I say, Matthias, but me the person can make. Tia, we no problem.
Me too.
Me say, you man na go for ado. Me medicine. And someone go for kafa no no. Want to be
bebre.
Yeti bebre. Known people. Secret no can open. And they at the same.
So that's the question.
And I make a trust and now
that is a question.
And I was saying,
good.
What will be the
question there?
So will be ba. Nipa no so no Ghana for to mama ya no problem.
Do ask a question.
Ghana for no problem to say.
Cause me no problem. Why you saying? Now cause Ghana for you putting me in that context. O my na mama ko can say me o. Metia me say Ghana ni. Dabi.
When you are talking about here.
O my ntina o beka minister. O my can question na minister. O le ka question. Chu. Then ka say Ghana for any no problem. O ka de me ka o me any problem.
Okay, only no
problem. Talk for yourself. No, come on. Say be a only no problem there. That one they meet me argue.
I was Martin.
Okay, so only the word dia. Okay, so only the word dia. No problem. But I say Ghana for dia.
I don't need you to agree with me. Any problem?
Because I'm agreeing with you. I'm not agreeing with you. Make your point.
You make kind of say
for yourself.
Some what tiasi, some won't tiasi. Wow, what does that? What the one do we are? Yeah, that na can media house now. Ah, with the post no. Go ahead and go for kafano. More I don't from post last week. Last week or last week is one of them. I don't from for one more Instagram page. Just go and read what people are saying about him. This is a person that who this is our channel episode now. They will tell us he doesn't respect Ghanaians, and it's true.
You see,
his utterances and
you see, you see, Oman, you see, because Oman, because Allah made me
that statement, but I don't need to be.
But you must let him know say you disagree, and you may go and yet. What are you trying to say? No, what are you trying to say? No, don't say conversation that you are talking. No, it is not right. It is not right to say. What kind of behavior? No, it is not right. True. No, but you don't say what you say. You said, but you also disagree with me, but you can't say.
True. So you are basing on your issue about what people have said, or you know for a fact that this is it. Which one is which?
Okay, so for example, and I'm making a video.
Yeah.
On TikTok.
Yeah.
Nani mu asem nyam koti in verbatim. Masema no de twan John Mahama. Asiane say. We are can asiane say. This is Napo talking. I have the video I can show you.
No say. Chase.
Masema no de twan John Mahama.
Chase.
Into who say.
Who say. Who want to say.
Because wasana na asiane say.
Why ready? Then we are team Didi.
Good.
Chase wo mu no.
Oh.
I mean, please.
Oh. Well, man,
you see, our interpretation of the manner when you are to Massimo training to I know it's wrong for you to say that. No. But we also not going to allow for this manner.
Your intelligence are becoming too much.
No, I understand. But you see,
your first point, you see.
Point.
I don't need you to agree with my point.
Okay.
When you are wrong, you are wrong.
What you say,
okay. When you are wrong, you are wrong. I'll tell you, you are wrong.
I know you right.
We can only say what we want to say. The person who believes in him, you know, it's not incumbent on young guy.
Exactly. I mean, that's what it is.
Wow, J. Breve, me da si.
Sorry, was me.
Osada kwasi sagwe. Da tikasi, me da kwasi eswasi. Me da team ne swasi. Wow, J. Breve.
Journalist.